Setting up the meeting. I work. We'll see. Give me a moment to get onto Facebook so I can see if it actually worked. Said it was not supported, but that doesn't mean anything sometimes. So I'm getting a little there. Was not really prepared for all this. Yes. Yes. Yay. It's working. Good morning. Let's see. Let me get to, there we go. There I can see. Oh my gosh. I'm excited. It's working. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Alita. I had to go look up the Dark Empath, and then I got really clear message to just stop doing that and let it come through. So that's what I'm doing. My chair is stuck in a rut there. All right. How are you? How are you doing this morning? How is everyone? Been using my phone so much I forgot what it looked like. Do the party. All right, right. That's so funny. Makes me laugh. It tickles me, and I'm honored. I'm super deeply honored and grateful that you remember it that way. Good morning, everybody. My name is Marti Forrest. I am an empath coach, light worker, teacher, what else? Mentor, Blu-ray, all kinds of labels. Thank you for the hearts. And I come here every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time to talk about some topic that happened to be requested, the Dark Empath. And so that's our conversation for today. Feel free to ask your questions and let me know where you're at. How are you doing? How are you doing with all these energies? Today is the 24th. It's the day out of time. Spiritual guide. Yes, I am that. My husband actually called me a soul coach. He said, I think you're like a soul coach. It resonated. So the day out of time, the 24th of July, tomorrow is the Galactic New Year. So you can look up a galactic calendar, and it's based on it's based on the Mayan calendar. I don't understand all of it. The last 2 days have been better. What I have maybe something I ate. See, so energies, so it's kind of it's it depends on where you are, but it's been really intense with the solar flares, the big solar flares that were coming in, have come in. The full moon we just experienced, there's just a lot of energy. So paying attention to where you are and how you're doing and making sure you take care of yourself. It had been a week since I'd had a bath, and that's one of my key ways that I take care of myself is getting in the bathtub so I can release and clear in the water. It's an interesting thing. Someone pointed out that we were talking about Lemuria, and I was part of that, Lemuria and Atlantis, and so it's no wonder that I love the water. But I never put that together. So the bath is my thing. The ocean, love it. We're near the lake, but the lake is different. So making sure you take care of yourself. Soul coach, yes. He's a good man. He's a really good man. Yes. Yeah, we are a good match. We're a really good match. Let's just skip that first. All right, let's talk about who's here. Say hello. Say good morning. I'd love to see who's here. The dark empath. Okay, so I wanted to look up something because you sent me something and I want to read that because reading this based on information I found, it doesn't match. So, but it all applies, right? So I'm going to read this to you. Okay. Dark empaths are natural born warriors for humanity. And once they grow to understand how they tick, they become dangerous because of what they can do, what they see and do. They can outfox skilled manipulators for the greater good of humanity. They are natural born narcissist hunters because people who lack empathy anger them. There's very little that I found online that said any of that. So I don't know if you can see that. Is it? Can I see it? A little bit. Anyway. So I read that and I feel that that's different than hi Cami, hi Malia. Good morning, good morning. New to this. Awesome. Glad you're here. So I read that and I think, okay, well, the dark empath is someone who uses the gift, I almost said uses the gift for searching out those that are of heavier, darker energies. While that can be true, I'm listening because it's all really new for me too. They have learned when they reach that stage that I just read, they have mastered their gift of dealing with their own darkness. It's kind of a twofold thing because there's those that are dark empaths that operate on the light of anyone, but empaths specifically, and they're different than narcissists, although the traits can be similar. So before they reach that point, if they reach that point of what I read, they operate in a place of using their empathic ability to use people, manipulate, and abuse. It's not like I'm formulating my words here. They're not dabbling in dark arts. It's as if they have the empath gift of feeling others, but rather than feeling it and using it in a compassionate, loving, light way, they tap into that part of us to fuel them. How do we recognize that? Because you got to feel it. You got to be able to feel that. Some are, hi Benjamin. Some are meanie. Is that what you mean? Meanie? Dark empath? Yes. So it's a heavy energy, although they mask themselves in the light and they use it. Because what I was reading didn't really make a lot of sense to me. And then I read that and so I'm like, okay, let me just channel this because it's all well, I know it. I've even been that, I'm sure, in another lifetime. I'm not familiar with it. Allowing myself. All right, awesome. I'm glad you're understanding. Lots. Lots. Yeah. So, well, and so we might call a dark empath someone who hasn't mastered their gift and they're still in their phase of manipulating people or using people or being angry at people. Being angry at, yes, every week. Being angry at those that are siphoning, plugging into them. So sometimes as we're going through our own dark, our heavy energy, because we haven't mastered our own gift of taking care of ourselves and using our energy for light because we feel it all. We're here, we're transmuting naturally. That's who we are. And there's a distinction between vibrating high and altering our universe. Our environment is what I meant, but our universe could be, yeah, with our energy versus transmuting intentionally for someone to save, rescue, or fix them. There's a clear distinction in that. Queen of codependency here. So I was doing that part. Save, rescue, fix. And then I learned that that's not my role. It's not my job to save, rescue, or fix anyone. It's not my job to help them transmute their own energy. It's up to us all to do our own. However, we all naturally alter our environment when we walk in a room, just by who we are. So I have like a visual of a dark empath person walking in and scoping and scanning the room to see who is open to. All right, I was told to speak it. Who they can manipulate. I keep saying he because I can see a man, but it's anyone that carries that dark. Thank you. So I can see them walking in a room and they're scanning. I'll scan all the time to see where I fit and who I might want to talk to and who I'm attracted to. On the dark part of that person is scanning to see who they can use and manipulate. And it might be many, might not just be one person. They're disassociated. That's the feeling I get. Oh, it's got all goosebumpies. They're disassociated. They can feel the energy. They can feel our feelings, but they're dissociated from themselves. And rather than coming from the space that most of us come from, is that kindness and that compassion and that love, they're using it to get what they want from a dark, heavy, selfish. So they have that gift of feeling it all, feeling other person. Hold on, I'll read that in a second. Cami. They have the gift. They feel what we feel. They just use it for a different purpose. Therefore, the dark empath. So I didn't get what I absolutely do not get is that they dabble in dark arts, if you will, or the occult, whatever you might label that. That's not where they deal. They're here on this in this planet in that heavy, dense energy, appearing to be light. Dark and light attract, right? Narcissist, empathic attract opposites. So if you're in those or have experienced those, it's the same thing, the same thread of learning for us to learn to trust ourselves. Trust what we're reading, trust the signs, trust what we're feeling. There might be only one little thing that's poking at you, and it might be really, really subtle, might be a blunt little tap, but you're feeling it. And yet all the other parts that they're bringing override that because we allow it to override. We dismiss all that we dismiss the piece that we're picking up that tells us there's something not right. And we go with all their words and fluff and all that stuff. I'm going through that now. I'm on a healing journey. Recently went to a women's business retreat. I found myself back. These dark people still live in my house and I don't want to go home. Yeah. Yes, it's really. Thank you and bless you for going here. You're welcome, Alita. Okay, some people are really working their way through their own shadow, their own dark, heavy energy. Whatever their abuse, whatever their trauma is, they're working through that and they're moving toward the light. And in that process, it's just shitty and it's ugly and it feels crappy and it feels crappy to those on the other side. But we've all walked through it already. You know they're on their journey, then it's learning how to have compassion. If you know they're just working it, There's got to be some clear boundaries. Always comes back to the boundaries, huh? And it is challenging. All right, I got to say this differently because there's so many of us that live in a place and work in places that are really heavy toxic energy, whether they're a dark empath or just enmeshed in their own crap, their own trauma, their own wounds, because that's where most people live from until they start to heal and do this transformation, this work. Because this is our role here. This is our role. This is our work, if you will. It feels like work sometimes. Doing our own healing and transforming. It's not up to us to help them do theirs unless they ask for it. Because I love to give unsolicited advice at times, and it falls flat every single time. 100%. 100%. I might have planted a seed, but 100% it falls flat if I offer unsolicited advice. Even if I know it would help them, because I know they don't want it. So that's one of the ways to learn to pull your energy back in. When we work in those situations and we live in those situations, it's a whole lot harder. It's a lot more work. I don't know a word I want to use, but I don't know what the other word is yet. To maintain our space and our energy, because we're in it. We're enmeshed in it. There's no escaping it. Unless you can go outside, and then it's temporary. But it's a constant, and it's constant anyway. But when we live in a place that's really heavy and dense, thick energy, over time, it's like being in the narcissistic relationship. It erodes the foundation, and it just chips away at us, and we're exhausted and we're depleted. You ever seen those children? They have really dark circles under their eyes, and they're just exhausted all the time. It's because their family's sucking the life out of them. Saw my family doing that. Most of them are in a state of permanent harm. Those that are not in those situations, yeah. That's why we isolate a lot. We love our solitude. Because if we're in those toxic situations, and in the beginning, it's all great and fluffy and good, but over time, it just wears on us. It does, because it's all energy. And there's just not enough of us to transmute. It only takes one of us, but there has to be a give and take in a situation like that. So if you're dreading going to work every single day because it's heavy, dense, thick, toxic energy, get another job. If you're willing to stay in the job because you need the paycheck, then you got to figure out how it works for you and how to keep to yourself and how to just stay in your own little bubble all the time. Because remember, it's not our job. It's not our job to save, rescue, or fix. Somebody said to me recently, the whole world is not your friend. You're not here to save them all. I was like, what? Of course they are. It's a little reality check for me. Oh, they're not all my friend. Yes, hermit is good for growth, the universe, removal of energy from bad energy. Some people get in their head when it happens. It's not. It's for you, not against you. Yeah, absolutely. When we're retreating, it is to go take care of ourselves. It is not personal. And many of us all walk away feeling guilty. We shouldn't do that. We should be above that. We should be better than that. We should, whatever bullshit you tell yourself. And I'm guilty. I'm not saying that directly to anyone. Thank you for so much of this great advice. Oh, hi, Lynn. You're welcome. Welcome, welcome. But the true seed knows when to leave nest mode. Yeah. Yes. It really is. So that's again, Benjamin, about trusting ourselves. Learning how to trust ourselves and knowing when, and then not carrying on the same old familiar dialogue that says I should be another way, or I shouldn't feel this way, or I whatever you tell yourself. You know the dialogue. You can't grow without light. There's a lot of things that grow in the dark, like the depths of the ocean, but yes, there's things that feed them. And to grow in light, yeah. So the darkness is the absence of light, and or all color and light. The light is the presence of all color and light. So we we are attracted to each other. Sometimes the dark helps us to see what we're still harboring and holding on to. Mushrooms. How can I help a child who's living in a toxic family situation? My heart is going out for him. Oh, love him. Love him and give him a safe place to come. Hi, Anne. Good morning. Oh, hang on. I was going back up to this one. It's such a big thing when you see children and you know what's happening. You can see what's happening. Same thing. It's not our job to save, rescue, or fix. What we can do is offer them love and a safe place to be. Safe place to come. Safe place to come and be with you. Remembering he also chose this. I don't know if it's a he, but the child also chose these parents for certain experiences and growth opportunities and whatever their soul contract is. And your role then is to let him know there's another way. And then he can come to you when he wants to talk on that part, or he needs a little respite from where he's at. And it's tricky. Do not step on their toes. Do not step on the parents' toes. You want the opportunities to offer to this child to have a place to come. I have a niece and nephew, and they're adults now, and I took them as much as I could when they were young. But then as they became teen, it was different, and I would say things, and it was just like above their head. I just had to let them know who I am and what I'm about, and that I love them, and I'm always here for them. But we have zero relationship, except that my family, because they're in that. And it was difficult. It was really hard for me because I wanted to help them. I wanted them to know there's another way. I wanted to rescue them. They have their own journey. I just had to say my piece so they would know that I'm available for them. And it's you're just watching a train wreck, and it's challenging. It's not challenging. It's hard. It was hard for me, and I had regrets, and I wanted our relationship to be different, and I attempted to make it different, and they weren't really interested. It was going to be very one-sided. I'm like, I'm not into a one-sided relationship. It's gotta be a two-way street. So if you don't, it's like if they don't want it, they just get to know that I'm here. That's the best I can do, and pray for them. I'm also careful about not offering my energy. Be very mindful about, because I don't need to interfere. When I'm offering my energy or sending light, maybe like to send light, sometimes I'm interfering because it's my energy going with that. There's a signature of my energy. Even if I'm like, I'm just going to send love and light, there's still a signature of my energy that is in their space. Give them the knowledge and tools to see what good is compared to bad. Right. Yes. Okay. There's that part. They will remove themselves at the right time. Hopefully. Yes. Hopefully they will. I'm having a terrible trouble with my daughter at the moment. It's breaking my heart. It is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking to watch them. Just you're just watching it happen. And all you can do is witness it. Cord cutting is very tricky indeed, or maintain a safe control and connection with boundaries. I would say, Benjamin, cut the cords anyway. I cut the cords anyway. I cut them with my husband. I cut them with my family. Like, give them their energy back. I'm not here to feed them energetically anymore. It doesn't mean that I don't feel them. That's not what that means. I don't need to be connected to them and giving them a lifeline. And I don't want their energy here either. So I cut the cords, return their energy daily. I can relate. Good. What to do when you realize a friend is not wanting to get better? Thought they do, and say they know better. I will not be used and allow my good energy to feed them. I will retreat every time. I have now grown, guided so much as well by you in understanding my empathic traits. My faith is keeping me strong. God closes the door because our loyalty would not have allowed us to leave on our own. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, not what to do when you realize a friend is not wanting to get better. They thought they do, and so when someone's like, I know. Well, if you knew, you would be doing something else. That's a conversation stopper. It's a door closer, and it's the best thing is walk away. You cannot help somebody who knows. They're not willing to hear it, and they're not willing to grow through it. I have a client. She's like, I know. Well, if you knew, she'd be like, so I bring that every time. Every time you say that, it's abrupt. I know, right? It stops. Youth find boundaries hard to understand. Not enough life lesson, right, to build them at that timeline. Yes, and they can be taught. Part of it is they have no boundaries. They've not been taught boundaries, but youth are really easy to teach them how to have boundaries. It's about nurturing the gift as an empath and highly sensitive, because it's learning to honor. And if the parents don't honor the children and respect their space, there's no boundaries. I grew up in a house like that, so there were no boundaries. It's very much like this, very enmeshed. So I didn't know where I ended and they began, my parents or the world. Had the gift been, and the children today, those of us that are in 40s and 50s and above, we've been paving the way for the children who are coming in, and they're already wired differently. So it's different for them. We've been doing all this work, and they're getting kind of grandfathered into it when they come in the world today. Just a little, I just read that recently. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm watching it. I see it. Yes. They need the tricky lesson to heal their inner child in the future. Take it back from all times and places indeed. Yes, 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 yes. And this is all the time. It is all the time. Every timeline, every galaxy, every universe, all timelines. Wherever I have picked up their energy, just everybody carries all their stuff, right? So when I cut cords, I cut them all. Sounds like, oh, Benjamin's commenting on elitists. If they are a future empath, they need to fall through life first. Well, they aren't. They're born an empath. So if you're an empath and you have children, then it's our role to teach them how to honor and have those boundaries and to have those energetic boundaries. And when they feel something is off, to honor that instead of dishonoring that, because that's what happened to us. You don't what was taught to you or dismiss what was dismissed in you. Teach them different. I said to my cousin, this was many years ago, probably before I even knew that I was an empath, her grandma was wanting her to perform and she didn't want to. And I looked at her and I said, you don't have to. You could say no. Oh my God, she's a kid. Grandma, I'm the firstborn cousin or niece. She was so pissed at me. Like, how dare you tell this child she can have a boundary and tell me no? Good morning, Brad. What's on the agenda today? We're talking about the dark empath, although it's on a lot of other places, but it's all tied in together. So you're right on time. I cut my mom's cord and all four of my sister's cord. I witnessed an attempted suicide and saved my 11-year-old niece's life. Oh, everyone is mad and angry at me because my sister's kids got taken away. Good. It was hard to let go of my family. Still healing. Thank you for the space of healing. You're very, very welcome. That's a oh, just take a breath. Back to the breath work. So when you hit those emotions, that big charge, take that deep belly breath all the way, fill your lungs, and exhale out of your mouth. You do that until you feel the energy shift. Doesn't have to be loud or anything like that, but we all breathe. So just take that breath and exhale out the mouth. It'll move the energy, that trauma that you're carrying around that. Because it's you did the right thing. Let them be mad and angry. You did what was in the best interest of the child. We often walk alone until we find our tribe, until we find like this mutual environment right here where we're on similar pages and paths, and we've all experienced some similar things in our own story. We all have our own story, right? So it's when we're the ones in the family. I don't speak to hardly any of my family. I haven't talked to my mom in a couple of months. She kept telling me your phone ringer was not working. I'm like, it's a freaking phone. So I get that you don't want to figure it out, but somebody did. I called her. I've called her a few times. She'll text me instead of calling me. She called me one time and then it was like, she hasn't called me since. And I haven't called her. I'm like, it's been a couple months. I'm like, this is interesting. So I can tell you when I returned her energy because of something I took on in the womb from my mom, and I went through this process and I returned her energy back to her, game changer. She won't understand. Thank you, Benjamin. Listen to this. I wasn't ready to leave one day when my friend came to pick me up. So I put on that morning's replay and had her watching. Oh, I got done and she said she didn't like it. She said it was weird. Funny how an empath will disrupt another's demons. Yeah, we do. We interrupt but you know what happens is she didn't like it, but it planted some seeds and it wasn't from you. Because sometimes they might be our friend or our family, but we're not the messenger. So we plant some seeds and then somebody else waters them and then suddenly they bloom and you're like, I've been saying that for the years, whatever, so we all have so let's come back to that dark. The dark is how they manipulate the energy. So that's what we started with, Brad, is the dark empath. What is it? So it's how they manipulate the energy. And the traits are very similar to narcissism, but narcissists are not empaths, generally speaking. They read the energy. They know your weak spots. They're very good at behavioral analysis. You can see it. We see the cues too, but we get the energy. They see the cues, they see the weak spot, and they go in for that. They do the love bombing, the charming, the charisma. So the dark empath may have some of those traits, absolutely, but they're not always a narcissist. They use it differently. They feel the energy. They know how to manipulate you in the energy. And then we buy into the charming and the love bombing and the charisma. So those are some similar things. But working with the energy, it's different for us. So knowing when you feel something is off, you feel something is different, you see a red flag, don't dismiss it. Do you feel me? Do not dismiss it ever. Oh, it's okay. They didn't mean that. Oh, they're really these great people and they just had a bad day. Fuck that. They don't. We do that to ourselves all the time. And the moment we do that, we're wide open and joining them. Stop doing that to yourself. And it's a learning. I'm not like, I'm just really serious because it's so, what's the word I want? It's so big. We are meant to be here. We have a role that we came in to play, to fulfill, not to play. We could do play, but to fulfill. And as we're rising in our vibration, and then we want to join them because they're saying all the right words, but something's not right. Maybe it won't reveal itself right away, but stop putting all your trust there and listening to the words because they sound good and they make us feel good. She's a dark empath. I was feeling the narcissistic traits. Yes, my energy hit me square in the I see danger. That's so disheartening to us. We tried and then we are hurt. It's a process. This is not a, there's no judgment about any of this. It's a process. And depending on where you are on the journey, we all go through it. And it doesn't mean I don't ever get caught up in it. I've just been doing it long enough to spot it a mile away, just like we spot a narcissist a mile away. You feel their energy before they ever come into your space. Close enough. Exercise years ago, it was about energy. I can't remember what the class was. And it was feeling the energy when someone's coming toward you, closing your eyes and then feeling, it was a little exercise. Somebody was right way across the room and I put my hand up, like way over there. And then I watched someone was right here in their space. And they didn't feel it until they were right there. Watch their feet. Yep. How do they treat the janitor, the waiter, other humans in the grocery store? Well, and pay attention to the falsity. Do watch their feet, of course. Yes. But sometimes they have that smarmy, fake. I'm curious, do we all have a capacity to be a dark empath? Of course. What I have channeled here, because I didn't really know, and I was reading a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, stop reading it. My higher self's like, stop reading it. Just let me speak for you. So yes, we all have the capacity. We all go through our darkness, if you will. Right? We all go through that part of ourselves, clearing the trauma, healing the wounds, those places that keep us in that low vibration. And so yes, we all have the capacity. We all carry the traits. If you think you don't, you're fooling yourself. Then you're trying to live in this love and light, high spirituality, and fake it till you make it bullshit. That's where you feel. If their words and their energy don't match, like we talk about the words and the feet don't match, if their words and energy don't match, pay attention. The dark empath is someone who learned how to manipulate the energy, and they're dissociated, is what I feel. Like the narc has different traits. They're not usually empathic. But the empath, the dark empath, they're dissociated. They work the energy. They feel, you feel the same as we do, but they work it in a different way for manipulation and abuse and to get what they want. Can they become light? I believe anybody can. Do they want to? If they don't see it as an issue, they're not gonna. We can call it out, we can set boundaries, we can do all those things. But ultimately, I don't see them in our life. I don't see them in my life. I'll just own that. Talking out of both sides and their face open. Their face was good fun. Oh, they talk about the like restraint of tongue and pen, and I'm like, and facial expressions. I have no poker face. All right, let's see here. I'll keep scrolling right past that. Hold on. Lynn, my daughter's an adult now and knows how to hurt me. Of course she does. Her and her brothers don't speak. Thank you for all those. Her and her brother don't speak and not able to his wedding. She's taking it out on me for not being able to change his mind to reconcile like her place. Knows how much it will affect my mental health. Not your place to reconcile their relationship. It's her place. And it's your place. And I say this with all the love in the world, but to mind your own business. They have their own relationship. And if it's not what she wants it to be, it's not your job to. So give yourself some compassion and kindness and love instead of listening to her lies and beating you down because she knows how to. Sounds like she's a narcissist. New word. How about that? Narcissist. Uh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you're being authentically you. They know how to emulate certain emotions to benefit themselves. Yes, 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 Jessica. Exactly that. They emulate. That's it, right? They emulate it. They aren't really that. So, Lynn, does she live with you? Does your daughter live with you, Lynn? It's some hard boundaries here. I haven't created the landing page yet, but I'm gonna set it up. I'm shooting for today to get it set up, and I'm gonna ask Mimi. This is her page. So I'm gonna ask Mimi if I can set and put a link in here. Okay. You too. Have a great day. No, she doesn't live with you. Okay, well then my recommendation, my sense, just let me share about my mom. I set some hard boundaries with my mom when there was a particular president that happens to be running again, was in, whoo, it's just shifted in my ears. Full balance happening there. And I just thought, I said, I'm not having this conversation with you. And it was over and over, at least 10 times. I would say, I'm not talking about this. Listen, mom, it doesn't make me feel good. And I'm not having the conversation. Even if I agree with you, there's no solution here. And I refused. And I had to say that over and over in various ways until she just was mad at me for it. She'd be like, oh, that's right. I can't talk about this. Yes, please don't. But it's my space, right? It was for my space and my health, not hers. Uh, and that's the hook, right? It's the 5-month-old. That's the hook that keeps you in it. So it's the divine timing. I was thinking of a friend of mine who the mother of his 2 kids was in her addiction, or I think she died in her addiction, and kept poisoning the kids to their dad. And he was in recovery. It was a hard road for him. He just kept staying out of it, and kept praying. And that's all he could do was pray for the kids and pray for her recovery. Maybe she didn't. And ultimately, it took a few years, but ultimately the kids came to live with him when they got into their teens. Divine timing. So if he had stayed in and meshed, enabling, gossiping, any of those things, he may never have had those kids back. But he just kept showing up as who he is. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I feel you. It's a heartbreak. and you can't control her. But this is about your health because you die in that shit, in that energy, and every time you give and you compromise and you sacrifice, die there. Energetically and spiritually. You may not physically, there's nothing left. We came in here to remember who we are and how to love ourselves and how to be light in the world. And when we have someone that's really dark and doing that narcissistic stuff, there's no winning. There's no winning, like not in a competition, but in creating a win-win situation for, because no matter what you do, it'll never be enough and it'll never be the right thing. Take a breath. Take a breath. That was heavy. It's not an easy one. Are they really yours, Lynn? You could do that, but you'll come back. Come back to finish the things that you didn't finish here. My understanding. I can help you if you would like to have a conversation. We can have a quick little conversation and see if we can go somewhere with in more in depth. If you're interested in doing something like that, just direct message me. And if not, then I'll just, I'll wish you well and keep showing up here and it's all perfect. And so back to the boundaries things. I'm gonna wrap a little early because I have another call right at the top of the hour that I need to get on a little early. It's a little earlier than we normally do. So I'm putting together I don't know what happened. I stopped talking about it. I'm putting together it's a free 5-day workshop on boundaries. My plan is to start on the 4th of August, which is a Sunday. It's the new moon, and go through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Thursday the 8th. And I'm thinking the evening time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, because I know people are all over the place. And they work and stuff like that. So that's the plan. Excuse me. And so you can direct message me for that, and I will send you the link to sign up. And I'm going to ask Mimi if I can put it in here. So you all will see it in here. If I can create an event for that in here, and you can all sign up. And then it's going to be, yeah, I nearly died at Christmas. I was on life support. Yeah. And you know what? It doesn't take it doesn't take your physical effort to do that. Taking me 28 years to work out whether he's a sociopath, malignant narc, or a mixture and a dark empath. All the above. My kids, I got brainwashed. They live with him. I escaped 1.5 years ago. Now we have a civil relationship for our children. Thank goodness. Thank goodness y'all could do that at least. You just keep showing up as who you are, Jessica. You just keep being who you are, being the empath, being the light, being the love, being neutral key. And it's not easy. I don't care when you do it, I'm in. Awesome. I want to give a little time so I can get it out there because I have to go back to the video that my someone that was helping me sent to me so I can actually create the page because I don't remember. And so it's just recreating what's already there, but I have to go through the steps to get it. So it's, anyway, it's going to be on Zoom for 5 days. And I'm really, really excited about it. So there's so many ways of talking about, there's so many types of boundaries, and there's just so many pieces of the conversation. And I'm going to hone in on probably two of them. So yeah, sociopath, malignant narc, or mixture, dark empath. Yeah, any of them, he's on the spectrum. How about that? Nearly died. So Lynn, does that mean you did that for yourself to die? Here's what I know about people who are committing suicide is they don't talk about it, they just do it. So it's and that they found you, that means you're meant to be here. I can't tell you how many times when I look back through my life that I had like this I'll just say God for the sake of understanding is like just plucked me out of certain situations that I would have either had a serious trauma, violent traumas, or I would have died. There were many of those opportunities. They weren't bad things, but they were opportunities for me to choose to be here or not. And I'm still here. Now I blamed God, but I chose to stay. So there's a reason that you're here. You may not like it. I didn't like it. I was pissed off for a long time. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be doing what I was doing. I didn't want that role. I didn't want that responsibility. And yet here I am sharing with you. And when someone said, well, that's your role, I'm like, I don't want this role. I don't like this role. I don't want to do it. Tough. I can either choose to accept it, or I'm always going to be in that place of a victim and wanting to take myself out. And I didn't really want to, so that's a miserable place to be. So why are you here? If you journal, take a look at what is my purpose on this planet? Why am I here? What's the bigger thing that has kept me on the planet? Because all the things that happen in your life are pointing you back to that higher purpose that you're here for. All the things that happen in my life, all the times that I coulda, shoulda, woulda died, or coulda, shoulda, woulda done something different, all of it reminds me, shows me that I'm here to be loved. That's my overarching bigger purpose here on this planet, is to be love and light. How that manifests in the form or the actions I take, this is one of them. Thank you, Jessica. I agree completely, she says. This is one of them. So that's where I get coaching and mentoring and teaching. Those are my zones of genius. And it's all an expression of love. Am I always that? I'm still human. So, the process. It's a process. So taking a look at what your purpose is here. Because there's no accidents that you're still here. There's no accidents that you landed right here at this point in time to listen to me speak to you. So taking a look at why you're here and knowing that all the things that have happened in your world are helping you to get to that place. And it fucking sucks. It's not easy. It's just not. It's not all roses and unicorns and butterflies. It can be, but it's not. Because we're dealing with both parts. We're dealing with our dark, our shadow, and our light. So separating that energy out so that you can discern what's you and what's them. All right, lovelies. Stay tuned for more. I'll be back here every week. I'm here on this page at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. I have a group called Empathic Superpower. So if you want to come there, I'm there on usually Saturday mornings. I try to do Saturday mornings. Step out of the bubble of chaos and look at your world from a different perspective. Yes, ma'am. I'm the observer or the witness of yourself. It helps us to take the emotion out and just to be able to look at ourselves in a much more objective way. Hi, Millie. I've been so stressed. I had a dissociation episode at the street fair a couple of days ago. My brain just stopped and I didn't know where I was for a minute. I think it was just too much energy around me. Yes, ma'am. It gets to be too much energy even when it's outside. And it's a protective mechanism that we just shut down. Good, good, good. I'm glad. Thanks for the suggestion. It was good for me too to really tap into that part because I was like, great topic. And I felt like I had to know. Let me go research. No, Spirit's like, nope, just listen. So I'm still learning too. I'm still learning and growing. All right, my lovelies, have a beautiful, beautiful day. And let me get over to my Zoom page so I can like actually close out this thing. Have a, my computer's on mute. Obviously, you all could hear me, so goodness. All right, lovelies, have a beautiful week. And I will see you here next Wednesday. And if you want to be in my group, just pop over to Empathic Superpower. And if you want more, you want to have a quick little 15-minute complimentary session where we can tap into a few things that's going on, Lynn, reach out to me or Jessica or any of you that showed up here today or hear the recording. Just direct message me through here or through my Marti Forrest. I think that is Marti Hicks-Forrest, Marti Forrest. Anyway, have a beautiful week. Namaste.